Mike's on. Francesa on the fan will come your way. Dove Kramer, Ernie Acosta on the other side of the glass. And, well, what a disgrace yesterday by the Jets. A complete no-show performance. The great defense was bludgeoned yesterday by the Cincinnati Bengals. The secondary was like a jailbreak with the secondary yesterday. And in a game that really was not as close as the final score would attest, the Jets are just destroyed. 49-9 by the Cincinnati Bengals. What a disgrace yesterday.
I don't know if there's anything positive you could say about this game, other than the fact that there wasn't an earthquake that swallowed everybody up and killed everybody.
Right.
Other than that, I mean, there's nothing positive to say. They stunk in every facet. Defensively, which is supposed to be the hallmark of this team, they were awful. I mean, I thought the first drive of the game pretty much set the tone for the game. How many times did we see their secondary get beat? Even on that good play that Antonio Cromartie made on A.J. Green, the second play of the game, A.J. Green beat him. I mean, he beat him, and Cromartie was able to get his hand out and knock it away. But that was the theme of this entire game. Cincinnati receivers, not just A.J. Green, who's their best player, but Marvin Jones, of all people.
Not the old Jet, by the way.
No. I mean, they just assaulted the Jets secondary, and this was here's the word I would use to describe this game for the Jet defense, a very humbling experience.
Well, they didn't show up. I mean, and to me, that starts with the coach. It starts right at the top. They beat the Patriots last week, and they had a major hangover from that game. They did not show up to play. And to me, it starts with Rex. And I like Rex, and I think he's a good coach and all of that. But to me, it starts with him. And that performance by the defense yesterday, look, they didn't lay a hand on Andy Dalton. He had all day to throw the ball. The secondary is not very good to begin with. And when you're not getting any pressure on the quarterback at all like they didn't, the secondary is going to get destroyed, and that's what happened yesterday.
I agree with part of what you're saying. I think there's a combination of two things to have you lose 49-9 in embarrassing fashion. One of which, you're right, they didn't show up, and it starts with the head coach. But B, the Cincinnati Bengals are a lot better.
Yeah, they're good. There's no question.
They're just a better football team. And this offense, which we know isn't very good, and we were talking about this last week, about the formula for pulling off this upset. To me, they were going to have to win an ugly 13-10 kind of game.
Right.
This offense is not good enough to play from behind.
Nope.
So when you're down 28-6 at the half, this offense is in no position to ask Geno Smith and his lack of skill players to go out and make some type of gallant comeback. They're not the Denver Bronco offense. So it was an awful, awful combination that led to a real embarrassing loss. And I know it's been an every other week kind of thing, win-loss. The problem is, I don't know if they're going to be able to pull that off when you look at the opponent they got to deal with next week.
Yes, the Saints. The only pluses, I guess, is that the game is at the Meadowlands. If it was in the Superdome, they'd absolutely have no chance. Not that they probably have one anyway. But you know what? They gave you two moments when you thought they might be in the game yesterday. One was at 14-0 after the first two possessions where the Bengals just, did whatever they wanted and went down the field to score touchdowns. When they stopped the Bengals on that goal line stand when the Bengals had like a second and a half a yard and couldn't get the first down, couldn't get the touchdown. So at that point, maybe a glimmer.
And you thought they were going to get real lucky on the Giovanni Bernard fumble, in which they initially called it a touchback, and you see the replay and you say, this is just a tease because there's no way this is going to stand.
No way, because his knee touched on about wherever it was, and 100%. But the other was the play by Wilkerson, that interception where Wilkerson bats the ball up in the air. Sheldon Richardson then bats it to Wilkerson, who makes the interception, but the Jets only get a field goal out of that. And really, that was about the only moments right there.
Well, that was the highlight of the game for this Jet defense, because sometimes you need that moment early in a game that can change a football game. And you're right, on 4th and inches, and I agreed with Marvin Lewis's decision to go for it, because
of course.
His thinking is, if we don't get it, which they didn't, we're pinning this Jet offense on their own 1-yard line. We stop them, we'll get great field position. So I thought he made the right decision at 14-0, not just taking the points, saying, you know what, stop us. And the Jet defense, which all season long has been really good against the run, and even yesterday, I mean, it's not like Cincinnati beat them on the ground. Ben Jarvis, Green Ellis, and Giovanni Bernard didn't exactly do much. So the Jet defense stuffs them. Of course, they go 3 and out on their own 1-yard line. But then a great defensive play, not only by Muhammad Wilkerson, but by Sheldon Richardson, kind of batting it to him. That's the moment right there. It's 14-0. You got the football on the Cincinnati 30-yard line. And I understand coming out of this game, the real talk's going to be about the defense, as it should be. But that was a moment right right there for this Jet offense to get them back in the game. If you score 7 right there, you're back in it. It's a one-possession game. They settle for 3. They actually go backwards, basically, on that possession.
Absolutely.
And then here's what really kills them. Cincinnati gets the football right after that, and this Jet defense needs to take the ball away from them immediately. At least force them to a 3 and out. And Cincinnati even started on their own 14-yard line. They didn't exactly have great field position. And what do? They march down the field. That big play by Marvin Jones where the Jets missed about 8 tackles on it.
Yes.
And Cincinnati punches it in on 3rd and goal when Marvin Jones caught another touchdown to make it 21-3. So all the good that they built up early in the second quarter was really thrown out the window by 2 things. Not getting 7 and by the defense letting them march down the field. Cincinnati goes up 21-3. And at that point, game's over.
Well, I'll give you one other moment when maybe you thought they might be in the game. At 21-6, they kicked that field goal to make it 21-6 before halftime. And then, who was it? Brandon Tate returns the next kickoff about 75 yards, setting the Bengals up on, like, the Jet 30-yard line. And, of course, they wind up scoring that touchdown before halftime by, guess who, Marvin Jones. And really, that was it.
Yeah, that was there were a lot of that was
it. But that was it right there.
Look, at 21-6, if you go into halftime, 21-6, getting the football to start the second half.
Maybe it's only 15 points. Maybe there's a glimmer of a shot.
Yeah, I guess that Brandon Tate return, followed by yet another 3rd down touchdown by Marvin Jones, I guess that took the glimmer and just kind of, shut it down. But all the way around, I mean, throw in the special teams, because you just mentioned it, the 71-yard return by Tate.
No doubt.
The offense not taking advantage of the great field position on the Cincinnati 30 after the interception. The defense just being bludgeoned all day.
The Jets suck,
the secondary being awful. The lack of a pass rush. The coach not getting his team ready to play. It was, on every level, Joe, a miserable, miserable performance.
There's no other way to say it. There's no other way to say it. It was outright miserable. You're 100% right.
And you want to throw in, they get the football to start the second half.
The first play.
Boom!
Tell me, pick 6. One thing about that play. It's 28-6. Why is there even a pass there? I'm saying to myself, you know what? Run the ball here. You're not winning this game anyway. And to throw the ball to the outside, no less, the most dangerous pass you could throw.
Well, the problem is...
Look, I understand it's nitpicking at that point,
but
still.
It is, but they're down 28-6, and they weren't able to run the football.
At all.
Bilal Powell really has done nothing since that big performance a few weeks ago.
Buffalo, right.
Chris Ivory didn't do much on the ground.
Their leading rusher was Matt Sims in garbage time. He had 35 yards. How about Matt Sims? By the way, were you still watching at this point? Because you might have been out.
I was in but out. I had him on a small TV kind of in the background.
Did you see the play? It's like a 3rd and about 14, and Matt Sims runs out of the pocket and almost gets the first down and basically dives over the defensive back. Did you see this play?
Yeah.
Right, and barely, I thought he got the first down. It was very close. He didn't get it by about a half a yard. I'm like, are you kidding? This kid is like killing himself. Diving over people.
He finally has an opportunity. Who the heck could blame the guy?
I'm not knocking him.
Let me tell you,
it was unbelievable.
Matt Sims was going to run through a wall no matter what the score was in that game.
Of course.
And look, the quarterback, and he's certainly not the number one guy to blame, but he wasn't very good himself either.
He wasn't good.
A couple of more turnovers to add to the ledger. He's now thrown 13 interceptions to 8 touchdown passes.
No, you're right.
That's not good.
Nope.
So, really, on every level yesterday,
it was horrible.
They were terrible.
There's no other way to say it.
And it's a combination of,
Jets suck.
Are a better
Jets
team.
suck.
We all know that. So, yes, it's a combination of that.
They weren't ready to play football.
It didn't appear that way.
It just didn't look like that. It looked like there was a major hangover from the Patriots. Remember during the week we had, was it Costello we had on?
The bad practices?
Yeah. And he said, well, that's just Rex's way of getting them going. And when I hear bad practice, I always get nervous. For some reason, that always translates into bad game. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I think we're figuring what the Jets are. And right now, halfway through the season, they're 4-4. That's pretty much the way they've played, like an 8-8 team.
Yeah.
And look, 8-8.
And when they've lost, they basically got blown out outside of the 13-10 loss to the Patriots. And when they've won, it's been Folk kicking the game winner with no time left on the clock.
Exactly. That's why I think they've been outscored by a lot this season.
It's unbelievable.
Despite being 4-4, but they're a mediocre football team. The beautiful thing is, if you're you're a Jet fan. Mediocre is a heck of a lot better than we thought they would be. And mediocre is enough to stay in the lousy AFC playoff race.
Well, right now they're only, what are they, a half game behind the Chargers for the second wild card? That's where they are. It's ridiculous to say, but that's where they are.
Hey, it only counts as one loss. I guess that's the other positive.
Well, that's what Rex said. Thank God.
He's right. It's just it was miserable.
How about Antonio Cromartie's wife? Okay. Did you see this?
No.
You didn't see this?
What?
Antonio Cromartie's wife is tweeting about how bad the defense was. You got to check this out.
No, jeez.
Oh, my bro.
I don't care.
I'm just saying.
I want to hear from Antonio Cromartie here. And look, Antonio Cromartie.
No, he was terrible.
He's had a miserable season himself.
Terrible year.
And I know it's early, and you don't want to pile on a rookie.
Terrible year.
But Dean Milner's been a terrible.
Let me tell you something. I never thought Dean Milner has been so bad. Okay, I have to be.
He makes Kyle Wilson look good.
Exactly.
Is that what you were going to say?
You took the word. He makes Kyle Wilson look like a Pro Bowler. That's how bad Dean Milner's been. You took the words right out of my mouth.
Yeah. It was...
I mean, right? He really does.
He's been awful. It was a bad day if you're a Jet fan. And now we'll let you vent about it at 877-337-66.
Jet suck. Jet suck.
It was a good day for
Jet
the Giants,
suck.
who now
Jet suck.
have a winning streak as they've won 2 in a row. We'll talk to Carl Banks about it coming up.
He's a hell of a quarterback, isn't he?
Yeah, boy.
The Eagles could have still been playing this game, and they were never scoring against the Giant defense.
I understand.
Never.
I understand. Yeah. It's the Minnesota Vikings and it's the Philadelphia Eagles. But how about this Giant defense?
They're playing real well. I think John Beeson has made a huge difference in that team.
I get it that both teams stink. I totally understand it. But they are still NFL teams. And the Giant defense is allowed nothing.
Let's be honest with this, too. There's no question. Look. Who has a better, you want to use this for the poll question? Who has a better chance to win their division?
Giants.
Of course. There's no doubt about it. As the Cowboys find yet another new and inventive way to blow a game.
Hey, give the Redskins credit for finding a way to lose.
They did too.
They turned a game they could have won into a blowout. I mean, it essentially was a blowout.
Over 4 times and they lost by how many?
Unbelievable.
How many points?
By more than the number.
I know That's
that. That's what I know.
I know that.
A lot more than the number. Hey, you know what? You could have said to me 2 weeks ago, and this is not about being negative. This is also about the fact this is the Patriots division.
Unbelievable.
You could have said to me at 0-6, hey, who has a better chance to win the division?
Where's Steven in Howard Beach? Is he around?
Still, he's upset. The Dolphin fan? Oh, my God.
By the way, that one call on that fumble was ridiculous, by the way.
Letter of the law. They got it right.
Oh, my God.
Letter of the law.
They got to look at that.
We'll talk about that batted call, the Patriot game. We'll get to the Giant game coming up, and, of course, your telephone calls on a football Monday and the World Series, which has just been insanely bizarre between obstructions and pickoff plays. What's next? Like a walk-off
Jet suck.
walk?
Jet suck.
Was suggesting
I like
Jet
that.
suck. Jet suck.
Hey, the way this World Series is going, it's very possible. Plus, last night, or yesterday afternoon, I hear about a stunning blockbuster Islander trade, which we'll get to.
Hey, wait a minute. While you're mentioning that, the Rangers won a game.
There you go.
And they're finally playing at home tonight. Hello.
Took a while. Took a while.
You know?
How about that? How about that? How about that? How about that?
We'll get to all that. Your calls to